towns with equipment, farm equipment to do that. So the way I'm understanding, we're still dealing with farm, we're dealing with farm equipment in residential area. We have, like you said, a street that's kind of been earmarked for that type of equipment that has been allowed for this time.
Right.
And it does abut up to that property.
Mhm.
We gave them access and the opportunity to use it, and they accepted that letter. So I'm kind of puzzled with it.
Well, the last I heard on that, they was going to talk it over. I haven't talked to them since.
They asked us to generate a letter. We went through the attorneys, generated a letter that would allow them access. And so I'm for farm equipment to keep it on one street that's also got truck traffic, and then also it has access to that farm area. I really don't.
I think it makes it unsaleable because it just, it's a straight shot right into that, and that's what they want.
Well,
I don't know.
and the thing is, if they want to develop that property, and I've said this for the last 3 years, if you want to develop that property and continue that street out into your property, whether it has to be with a cul-de-sac or however it'd have to be engineered, then at that point in time, yes, we would put out the money to develop the street, to run the sewer, the water, the electric, and everything for the development. But right now, as it stands, all we're gonna end up with is farm equipment going down the street where there's little kids and everything else. I don't know, it's a good thing.
Well, and I think the village also has to consider, currently it's in an agricultural state. It's attached to property that attaches to 67, which has access. Is it the village's responsibility to create roads, to subdivide a farm ground, to generate farm equipment through the village? I mean, I think you have to determine whether or not that's your responsibility.
Well, that's why I said normally when they split up farm ground and stuff, they provide easement off of what they own.
But they're selling part of that, the way I understand. It wouldn't matter to me if I was on a tractor. I don't need a road to drive down. I'd go right back to the end of the street and just keep right on going. And it's an unimproved street, nobody could say anything.
Sure they can. You don't have the right to bring farm equipment in and drive across village property that's unimproved.
You don't?
No.
No, that'd be like somebody taking a combine across the park.
It's not a developed roadway, so what right would you have to go in there and tear apart? That'd be like you saying you want to take a tractor and drive it through the park.
Then we'd have it to maintain.
Yeah.
Then we'd have it to maintain. after
Well,
it
I'm
was
saying,
tore
I
up.
mean, would you drive a tractor through our yard in the park just because you have a tractor?
No, but I have. I'm pretty sure I've driven. I mean, my little tractor, you know what I mean?
Just saying.
I just don't, I think the village has to determine if it's their responsibility to improve unimproved roads for the benefit of third-party sales.
I'm just asking the questions that you stopped and asked me.
I would ask the attorney that opinion.
No, it's not.
I think so, it's fine.
I mean, if they want to sell off a piece and they're going to be landlocked, they shouldn't sell that piece off it.
Well, that's why it's saying, normally if you sell off a piece of property, you have to provide easement of some kind to that property.
I don't even know if the county engineer would approve it without the right of ingress and egress.
I think that's a problem.
I know it wouldn't I know they wouldn't in Allen County.
Right, right.
And I would be surprised if they could do it in all places.
Well, then the question would be, is it the village's obligation to put in, open up an unimproved street?
No, I don't think so.
And like I said before, we did provide a solution would grant them to be able to go down Wayne Street and go into, I mean, you actually have the length of the field you could go into. And that would contain any heavy equipment and everything to one street that we would have to maintain. I don't know what farm equipment it would be, but You know, I just don't wanna see the street get tore up any worse. I don't wanna see any more power lines tore down and cable lines, and that just makes the people in that residential area, you know, upset. And to me, it's no different than if you take a developer, we'll take Daybreak Estates, for example. You go out and spend that kind of money to build homes and everything, and then you find out that we got combines and tractors and everything going through your subdivision, it wouldn't make them happy. And I feel the same way about any of the other residential areas in the town.
Would any size, I mean, farm tractors and their combines and all this other stuff that they have, would any of that even be able to get down Wayne Street? That street's not real wide, and there's
Well,
always
Wayne
cars
Street,
parked there. Oh, not
there's
Wayne,
enough room.
Maple.
Maple, that's
I don't
questionable.
think they could, and
That's questionable.
And
I don't know
Tim
what
has-
size equipment they have or anything else.
I don't even know if that's what she wants, they wanna farm it.
That's what
They
they
just
told
want
us.
to sell it, and I don't know, maybe they do wanna subdivide it, I don't know, I didn't ask all those questions.
We were approached that they want to sell the back part of this property, and wanting the village to provide access to it. Well, that was,
Wasn't there access to it already in that street?
pardon?
Is there access already?
Yeah, they
to
could
that
drive
property?
right through it, but did for years.
What's their problem?
Well, Fred just said they weren't allowed.
No, on Wayne Street, we have provided, an access to
Yeah,
that
I've
property.
seen it, yeah.
Maple Street, Maple Street stops.
They wanna
There's
go on
nothing.
Maple.
Back where Wooten's used to live, that property is being discussed about? Where Wooten's used to live, is that the property being discussed about? They live in that last house on the right?
yeah, that was Rhonda's father-in-law's house.
Yeah, the street doesn't go any further than what the house, where the house set.
Remember what we went through trying to get the snow plowed there?
And that lays wet back in there.
Access from 67, someplace in it. Their house is on 67, but they want to have access from their ones. Okay.
Yeah, the property is shaped
I
like
don't, did you own those lots or did Keith
this.
own them?
They wanna sell this back here, but they don't want to allow access off 67 to get to it. They wanna go down Maple Street
Penny?
Yeah.
to get to it. And
They
we
want
were
all
already
lots.
providing down Wayne, which is right
You
here.
didn't sell the
to
house
get to
for the
any-
street then,
any
did
part
you?
of this.
No,
Had to ask.
you can't sell a street.
That would be a
And I particularly
no-no.
don't care to have the traffic go
No,
through.
some people sell
on-
bridges.
On Maple, when we already have recycled traffic.
The street actors talk
And then,
about this
But you
side.
can open
When I
that
saw it
street
here,
back
right,
in there and
supposed to
you
be
can
Maple.
sit right in
They said,
there.
wait, no, come back to recycling.
Yes, it just lays under water.
If it's just to get to the field farm, they take down the fence and go right up through where those trees are. That's when she always got stuff in the and just went right down the street to the
Sounds like
field
that's what's
there.
going on.
They're on the 67.
There's only one house
What's
there.
between
Well, they
them?
tore it down.
Well, they tore it down.
Tore that down.
Okay.
okay. Is this body wanting to do something other than what the administrator and I have already done with the attorneys and so on and so forth on this property?
I don't know what you've done, what we just talked about, you mean?
Yeah. We have provided access to their property through a, would you call that an easement or just a?
It's not really an
It's not
easement
an
because
easement.
it's not
Right.
official.
Because it's not filed, you don't have a legal description.
Right.
Yeah,
It's permission.
it's basically a permit to trespass on your property.
Right.
That you can terminate at any time.
Right.
I mean, there's no formal legal name. for it.
Ideally, I would think that in most situations with farm grounds under these same scenarios, since they have frontage on 67, they would put a culvert in that field area
And give an easement.
and have access on their own property.
Right.
And then, you know, what I don't understand is why the property owner feels we ought to give, and on our dime, build a road access when they have access and they can grant an easement.
That's not the impression I got. I got the impression you're stopping them from opening up that street. And to me, what I'm hearing tonight is you're punishing because you think they wanna farm it. I don't know that.
We're not
I don't know what.
punishing anybody.
I don't know that they wanna
We're not
build 10
punishing
houses
anybody.
back here. So the thing is, if they wanted to do that, they should be allowed to do it at their expense.
If they wanna extend the street
Yeah, exactly.
to our specs,
Yeah, exactly.
we could do that, but they need to come in and make arrangements.
Right.
That's what we talked about. If somebody wants to develop that, if they wanna come in and say, we would like access to this property,
Yeah.
we need to extend street and utilities or whatever, we would definitely work with them on that. We have with any
Yeah,
others.
I was just trying to get past the point that it didn't get sold.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
still there.
No, if they want, I think I said that earlier, we're not penalizing anybody. If they wanted to develop it or had some reason that they felt the village should improve that street and would come and petition the village, then I think you should entertain that.
Right, yeah, because if they were gonna build 10 homes back there or something, I think
Yeah.
you'd jump all over
Well,
doing
one
whatever
home.
you could.
Right.
You could make the decision on one home.
I was told they want to farm the ground for hay. That's what I was told.
That's the only conversation we've ever heard.
With a
is farm.
7-year turnaround on crop rotation. So that's what I was told. That's why we went the direction we did. Nobody has said one word about building anything.
Yeah,
We even
The-
had
the
somebody
third
come
party
about the Davis
is wanting
property,
to farm it.
Yeah.
that went up for auction at the end of Perry Street. Because it ended up being like a 1.3 acre parcel that went up for auction. There was a couple investors that came in and wanted to know what their options were. As we talked about earlier, you have to have frontage. And the only way they could have probably done it was to level the house and extend Perry Street through that and then subdivide off of that. And we told them, if you decide you want to purchase that and you're looking to develop that, you would have come to zoning commission first of all and appeal and apply for that interest, and the village would work with you in achieving that. Just like we did with Daybreak Estates and Cotter Station. We would do that with them, but nobody's came to this body and said, we would like to extend that street. What I've heard is, we want a farm, we want you to open it up and extend it for us.
Yeah, that's not, she stopped at my house and asked me if I was on the street committee, and I said yes, and she presented that to me, and I said, I'll take it to the next council
Absolutely.
meeting. That's what I'm doing.
Well, the initial question, no, we have not sold the street.
So they can open it up if they so desire through the jump through the right hoops. That takes it off my shoulders.
Why didn't they come tonight?
Hmm?
Why didn't they come tonight?
Oh, I think they're out of state.
Oh, wow.
Okay, let's move on. Any other committee reports? Doc, go to police report. Oh, no, okay, go to police report.
I apologize for being late tonight. I'm sure you all know why I was late, but got here as soon as I could. The owner of 318 East Wapakoneta Street, Maurice Duggins, was served paperwork outlining Mr. Duggins' property as being in violation of Ordinance 01-04-1, prohibitions of junk motor vehicles. On the notice Mr. Duggins received, there were 25 vehicles listed that appeared to be in violation of the ordinance. There are additional vehicles on the property not listed, however, that will be addressed in the future. The deadline for removal of those vehicles was this past Friday, March 25th. Mr. Duggins is still not in compliance, and I will be meeting with the village solicitor to determine the next course of action. I do want to note that Mr. Duggins has verbally told both the mayor and I on several occasions in the last 2 to 3 years that he planned to have an auction to get rid of the vehicles. Clearly, this hasn't happened. This most recent action is the first formal action the village has taken against Mr. Duggins, as other attempts to work with him have yielded little, if any, results. Since the February council meeting, I have been very busy with several felony drug cases. 2 cases involve possession of cocaine and 1 case involves illegal possession of prescription pills. 2 of the 3 cases utilized our K9, while one of our cases, the cocaine was in plain view and my partner was not needed. Along those lines, our call volume overall has increased exponentially in the last 2 to 3 weeks. Over the course of the past year, the village administrator, fiscal officer, and I have looked at ways to streamline processes within the day-to-day business of the village. By doing this, we've found ways to save significant amounts of money the village previously spent. For example, by changing one policy, we will now be saving the village between $1,500 and $2,000 annually. Thus far, with the changes we have made, the estimations of savings range between $10,000 to $12,000 a year. Some of these changes are simple, such as combining office supplies, whereas others have been a little bit more complex. We continue to strive to make the village as efficient as possible so the public's tax dollars are wisely spent. Speaking of spending money, this is where it becomes out of our control. There was a federal mandate passed in 2010 that required all stop signs to be upgraded to a high reflective standard that had to be fully implemented by the end of 2015. The Village of Waynesfield is in compliance with that portion of the law. Also included in that law was a mandate that all named street signs have the same high reflective standard by the end of 2017. Very few, if any, of the village's street signs meet the high reflective standard. So we will be looking at replacing these signs very soon. Along with the federal reflective standard, all new signs must utilize the first letter of the street being a capital letter, followed by lowercase letters. A very expensive federal study found that by putting a capital letter followed by lowercase letters, the signs are easier to read than the signs that have been traditionally all capital letters. So once the new signs are put up, they will look slightly different than the old ones. Currently, every one of our signs in the village are all capital letters, so they will all have to be replaced by the end of 2017. So we will begin working on that here soon. We'll probably have to do it in phases based on the money in the budget and the money for next year's budget. That is all I have.
Average cost of those signs?
I'm getting quotes right now. Approximate cost is anywhere from $38 to $50 a sign, and the reason for that is in speed limits where the speed limit is 25 miles an hour or less, the signs have to have 4-inch lettering, minimum 4-inch lettering, where the speed limit is in excess of 25, so 35 or above. The signs must be 6-inch lettering or above. So we have mostly less than 25 mile an hour signs, speed zones in town. So most of the signs will be 4 inches in height. Those I was quoted at a cost of roughly $38 a piece.
So it ought to be quite expensive.
Should we thank Mr. Obama then for this here or what?
Well, this was done quite a while ago, and apparently the signage has been an issue all across the country apparently because they made it a federal mandate. So we currently have all of our street signs and all of our speed limit signs are in compliance. So those were the two areas that we wanted to make sure were in compliance by the deadline of 2015, but they've extended it out to 2017 for the street signs because a lot of places it's a major expense. I know a lot of cities I've been in just recently, I've looked at their signs and a lot of them are not in compliance, so they're going to have the same issue that we have.
Are we gonna leave the old ones up till we get the new ones, or?
Yeah, we're not going to take them down. Otherwise, nobody will know where they're going. The delivery trucks already have a hard time with the signs up the way they are right now.
I'm good.
All right, thank you. Administrator report?
The lagoon projects is moving forward. They were, this week is the slated date for mobilization, but of course with the weather and so forth, but it could happen anytime. They have done some stump removal out there and small amount of excavation, so we'll update you as that goes along, but they haven't done anything yet other than some stump removal. We put down 2 tons of cold patch yet this spring. We were going to do some hot mix in some areas of street, but blacktop facilities won't open until about mid-April. So we'll do what we can with some cold patch. We some areas that was need substantially, and I'm sure there's others, but we got a hold of the most obvious. And, we've also done some crack sealing, we're not done. We've actually put down, more than a pallet, which is a lot of crack sealer. And we've got some more tomorrow, and then that will probably conclude our crack sealing for this year. And so, that should be completed maybe by the end of the week or the first of next week.
I didn't even catch you out there doing it. Probably wouldn't catch you doing it. No.
Well, you gotta get up before noon.
We all thought you was gonna come out and help.
I've been going to the Y 3 days a week, I'll have you know, and I leave town at 7:30 in the morning.
Anything else?
That's all I have, thank you.
Okay.
Looking up.
Mayor's Court, $790 was deposited in the general fund. That's all I have. We'll go to the old business. Old business, the local board of tax review, have you come up with, anybody for that?
I asked a couple people and they said they're not interested, so.
Okay, to be in compliance, we do have to have that, so if,
Have any volunteers in the room?
because what'll happen is I will have to appoint people to that position, if we can. Because we have to have it. Would that be correct, Dick,
Yes.
to do it that way?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I don't know, when's the deadline?
Well, it should have been done.
Yeah, we're supposed to have
I was
one.
gonna say, it's
But-
supposed to have been done.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last meeting,
Yeah.
yeah.
They don't have to be in the village.
Yeah, okay.
How many members on the board?
3 and an alternate.
Right now, we have Kenneth Admire, the alternate.
Me, yeah, me.
Who you got so far, you said?
Kenneth Admire, and then Barb as alternate if he can't make it. And to be
Means she
council-
automatically moves up to.
Pardon me?
I mean, she automatically moves up.
If you can't fill
No. And council is to select 2 people. Like I say, it doesn't have to be, I mean, it can be somebody from out of town, it doesn't matter. This is the state of Ohio.
I have a tax question for you when you get done with this, so I can ask you now if you want. I had another lady ask me about that income tax that's not getting that voted on in time, and he was gonna pass it retroactive back, and Bob said you couldn't do that. People are working on their taxes, and they're still, said they was never notified up there to not charge it for that month and a half or whatever it was at that CC place. You know what I'm talking about?
I
Good,
contacted
I
them and
don't.
asked them and told them the whole situation, and the CCA said that it's not a problem according to their legal department. And I checked with Bob also on that, and that's kind of what they said. Well, that's where they left it, because, so I told them the whole situation and gave them all the paperwork, and they said our legal department looked at it, and it's not a problem.
Well, see, the thing was, we wasn't initiating that for the first time. We already had in place an ordinance that covered that. So we was basically updating our ordinance. There was already one in place that says that we're gonna collect the tax, blah, blah, blah. So,
That was just for this year, wasn't it? Just for the beginning of this year. So it'll be when we file taxes next year, won't be effective then, shouldn't it?
right, yeah, yeah.
I think there's something they have to estimate or something, what they're gonna pay or something. I've never done it myself.
Yeah,
I never
some of
made
them
it.
aren't estimated based on their
Wait a
income.
minute.
What if they just estimate like they always
Wasn't
do?
wrong job, Dick.
They're gonna get back at the end.
Right,
so
yeah.
Because I do estimated,
Yeah.
the what makes the difference. You overpay, you get it back. The only way you can do it is
Well, try to think of somebody we can put on that board, for next month.
So what
Yeah.
exactly is their duties?
Okay, their duties would be that in the event that somebody, just like going to the zoning review board, if they wanted to try to make a change, wanted to try to negotiate, wanted to try to, anything, you have a body you can talk to. That's what it's for. And that's mandated by the state, that you provide them someone to go to.
I'll volunteer to be on
Thank you, Lois.
it. You're welcome.
Thank you.
We only need one more. So. Okay. Any other old business?
Yeah. I have one thing, the guy, I don't know why everybody complains to me, but these guys with their junk vehicles and stuff around, it's been told right straight to me, why don't you guys do something with your stuff? And I said, I'm the wrong guy to be telling that, because I've been, they're complaining about that half a mile long of military vehicles back there growing up in the weeds. I said, I say something about it all the time. So, you know, how are we giving people letters, making them get rid of these vehicles and stuff, and we got several acres of them sitting back here. That wasn't me saying that, I'm just passing it on.
Well, what it amounts to is that is village equipment. Most of it does not have to be tagged or anything else. And if it does, it would take a, what is that, a state tag, Nathan?
Right, you can get a state tag
State tag, or a slow-moving vehicle on any of the equipment that is off-road.
Right.
Uh,
Much of that equipment runs too. I mean, not, you know, the flatbed, semi-trailer and truck, and, you know, it runs, a lot of
Right.
the equipment does run.
Any update on when you might be getting rid of some of it?
Not at this point. And the reason for that is like I outlined in my report, with the call volume and things going on in the community here of late, the last several months have been a whirlwind to say the least. So I haven't had a chance to look at it. I'm still trying to do the state mandate of getting the department in compliance before April of 2017. I've got a meeting on that coming up this week that I'll be going to, and looking at the compliance standards for that. Until I get that squared away, that's kind of taking priority beyond the day-to-day stuff that's coming in.
Well, the whole intent of getting the equipment and all the stuff that we got was not to get rid of it. Why would we go get it if we didn't want it? So,
But and the reality is if there's, you know, there are times when other agencies may need something, and if we have something that we aren't using, we don't necessarily have to sell it. We can actually give it to, through a transfer form, we can transfer it to another agency, transfer it back to the military, which we don't like to do, but we can do. You know, and any equipment that we've acquired, we can transfer to another entity with, you know, filling out the appropriate paperwork. Just like acquiring, which we're in the process of doing with regards to our Veterans Memorial. We've been trying to make contact with a couple other entities that had some equipment that might look nice in our Veterans Memorial that they may be able to transfer to us. And whether we give them something in return or they just, it's something they don't use, we may look at doing that as well.
Just a question though, that area is secluded, it's back a long way in a fenced-in area, and it's no trespassing, so I'd be kind of curious who would be back there looking around trespassing to come to that conclusion.
Well, I just drove, after they said that to me, I drove by there and looked over, and you can, right from this road, you can look back there and see a big line of it. Just looked last week.
I've never seen it, but anyway, it's back in a secured area, just like other village-owned secured areas. They use.
I'd like to invite the rest of the council members to all go back there and have a look. I think it'd be great for them to all see what we
I
have.
didn't say council members, I said people that was coming to you complaining. That sounded like they were in an area that was restricted, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know where you're
Because we have
talking
things
about.
back there that.
I think you can actually see it from over this way too, I'm not sure, you know, out like behind the bar or something, I'm not sure.
I'm not either.
Yeah,
Is that within city limits? Is it with the corporation limit?
It is it's in the court, well, it's attached, I mean, it has, it's actually outside the corporation limits, the frontage of it. But what I'm saying is because, how did that, no, it's not. It's not in the corporation limits.
I was gonna say, so I.
Why would we have property that wasn't in corporation limit?
It's for your lagoons, you wanna keep it home?
Yeah.
I
I mean,
I didn't think that was.
that don't make sense, what you just said, I missed it.
we can own property outside the corporation limits, just like the township owns the fire department,
Right.
which is in the village.
Right.
Yeah, they secured that evidently back in '66 or whatever.
Right, right.
For the sanitary system. And,
But to be in the corporation, you must have adjoining
to annex,
consecutive
yes.
property to do it, which evidently there is not.
Yeah.
So we own property within the township.
Right. So that is an incorporation, that's a good point. But it is a restricted area, and I was just going by you saying people going back and looking around, I'm like.
I don't know anybody went back there and looked around. I haven't been back there for a year probably, or it seems like it, 6 months.
Any other old business? Not, move to new. Solicitor have anything?
No, I've got an update, I guess a little bit, an update on Mr. Duggins.
Okay.
In addition to what the chief had indicated, I'm gonna get with the chief after the meeting. But I know Bob has talked to Mr. Duggins' attorneys, I'm not sure where they're located. And we also have a complaint ready to file against Mr. Duggins, if necessary. But we're holding off on doing that in the hopes that, the negotiations will be fruitful and he will do what he has promised through council to do, which is to have everything remediated, according to my notes, by May 1. If we file suit, you're getting into a lot more expense with us, and you're looking at a lot more time past May 1, and the purpose is to get the place cleaned up. So hopefully that is taking place.
That's all I have for this evening.
I make a motion to adjourn.
What'd you have?
Mayor,
Sorry.
there's been some concerns expressed in the community with the fires that have happened. And just for clarification, who's responsible for flushing hydrants and hydrostatically testing hydrants within the